know when you're ready, man.
Good. All right, guys. Just to kick things off, we got a few little announcements to make. First of all, thank you to the Western Australian government for having us back, and obviously to Tourism Western Australia, led by Di Bain, our close friend. Tonight was an excellent evening. Really excited to be back. Performance bonuses go to Alberg, Jimmy Crute, Tom Nolan, and Pericic. The attendance tonight was 12,543, and the gate was 1.8 million approximately US dollars for the largest fight night gate in UFC Australia history. Yes, sir.
Dave, congratulations on a great night, man.
Thank you.
First things first, what stood out to you from tonight? And I know there was a little bit of controversy around maybe the card not delivering as much as others, but it was a pretty action-packed morning here in Perth, Western Australia.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first thing that stood out was maybe a lot of cans consumed yesterday during the footy. And honestly, like, it just sort of felt like the night just kept picking up and picking up. It didn't feel like past pay-per-view numbered event championship nights where it was just like full throttle from the first fight. But that was nice. Like, it picked up from the very beginning and crescendoed in what was a really incredible finish by Alberg. We had an excellent week. I mean, Perth is really a destination for our team and for our athletes. This is coveted. Like, when the schedule comes out and we start to plan where we're going over the course of the year, people put up their hands like, okay, we want to go to an Australian event. So it was really nice for everyone during the week. We also had a significant amount of support from, I mentioned TWA, but also a number of different government officials. And so it was great to have that type of support throughout the week at the presser, at the weigh-ins, and then now here today. So listen, another return. We talked about it a bit. I talked about it a bit in the press conference. Like, our viewpoint, our duration here is we're playing the long game. And this is just a step in the right direction for the business in Australia when, you think you get to a point and you've kind of maxed out what you can do. There's another gear, there's another level for us. And I think tonight proved that almost the audition of the fight night tonight puts a lot of different athletes in position for really sought after events and bouts in the future. Who knows, including shortly after next weekend.
In the States, sometimes the crowds don't come together till sort of the main card. Here at 7 a.m., it seemed like the place was pretty full. Yeah. Were you surprised the day after the AFL Grand Final?
Not at all.
7 a.m. packed.
Yeah, no, not surprised in the least. This is culturally how UFC is consumed in this country. And when we spend time in different places talking to broadcasters or governments or different sponsors, and people are like, wow, you have morning events in Australia. This is just the way that our sport works in this country, and it fits in with the scheduling of other sports, with it being Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon usually, and culturally it's what people do. They get together, whatever, barbecues, beers, Sunday afternoon, you get together and you watch UFC, and this is why our sport works so well in this country.
It was going to be a record card with the record number of fights. Mm-hmm. We had a few fights cancelled. Do you have any updates on Justin Tafa? Obviously, that fight was cancelled last second. A lot of rumours around his future with the UFC. Can you sort of update us on that?
I can't comment and don't have any information to share on his future. I actually don't know. I think he just had a sort of a weight-related illness, and he couldn't compete. So I don't have any updates, but we might be releasing something at some point down the road.
An interesting moment in the Jake Matthews fight with Neil Magny. Seemingly, the referee waved off the fight with a second to go and then continued it. Break that down for us. What was your reaction when that happened? And actually, is the referee able to continue on the fight after waving it off like that?
Yeah, listen, the whole situation was strange. And I think there was confusion where we were sitting. There were a number of us just talking through the particulars. I think in the end, and I think everyone's going to have a different position, but the fact pattern as we saw it was, arm went seemed to go a little bit limp, right? Like, Magny's arm kind of came out and sort of flopped a little bit as if he was about to go out. My only assumption, and I don't want to speculate, my only assumption is that the ref assumed that he was going out and seemed to have stopped the fight. I think objectively, and to most people, maybe different people have different opinions here, but it seemed like he stopped the fight, and he stopped the fight, importantly, before the bell. Now, there didn't seem to be much time before the bell, and so that's where the confusion, started. Jake got off because of the bell. Very clearly, the ref thought that Neil was sort of coming to, or he was fine, and then allowed the fight to continue. So where do we go from here? I mean, Matthews his camp's able to lodge some sort of appeal, but this is all in the hands of the Western Australian Combat Commission, and so it's up to them to determine what the next step is. And honestly, I'm not really sure what the scope of the process would be and whether or not they would levy a no decision, but there seemed to be a mistake. Now, I should say that over our time in Western Australia, Anthony Grover and his team have done a tremendous job, and they've been very instrumental in the ongoing progress and regulation of combat sports in this state. And they've been a pleasure to work with. So the only comment I think we should make as the promoter, and by the way, promoter of both athletes, is this is in the hands of the commission to figure out what to do next.
Give me your thoughts on the main event between Carlos Ulberg, obviously, and Dominic Reyes. He was able to put out a statement win that makes it 9 fights in a row here. What was your reaction to it, and is he, in your opinion, likely to be the next contender for the title?
I mean, so my personal reaction was, I think like everyone else, jumped out of my seat. It all happened very quickly. It was a very emphatic, very energetic win. He looked great. I don't know if you guys did you have the audio on of this earlier so you could hear Rob and Felder and Dan Helly talking about it? I mean, they're all sort of making the case that the way that he won, the fact that he's on, I guess, a 9-fight win streak now, being undefeated, and doing it, again, so emphatically, it puts him in serious consideration. So
Last one.
we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Last one for me. A lot of the fighters have been referencing a card in February, this Sydney card.
I feel like you got questions for everybody here.
No,
Anyone
this
else
is
got
the
anything
last
else?
one from me. This is the last one from me. What can you comment on that card? Is there going to be a February card in Sydney? Is it a pay-per-view? What can you reveal? 'Cause
So where we sit right now is we are aiming to be back in Australia next year multiple times, but nothing to report. Jack was making the case. Was it Jack? No, it was Jimmy was making the case for Melbourne, I think. But listen, we've got a list of really great, really wonderful destinations for the UFC and a variety of different arenas. I think, who knows? I mean, our stadium days are probably behind us, but we've got a number of really incredible opportunities to come back to Australia. So TBD, we don't know yet. Yes, sir.
David's down here. When it comes to sort of what state you go to in Australia, has it turned into just which state government gives you more money? Or does that play a major factor, or how much does that influence?
Yeah, it plays a major factor. It's a big part of it, right? It's about the financial commitment as much as it is about the support from the government in the promotion, assisting us with, depends on where we go. I mean, Australia's not a unique situation in that we have government partnerships in a variety of different places around the world, whether it's the UAE, whether it's Singapore. We were in Baku in June. Macau and Shanghai, a few different places. And so for us, we need to make sure that we can put on the best event possible. Part of it financial, part of it support from the government in terms of promotion. In several jurisdictions about assistance for us with travel and permits and licenses to put on the fight. So there's a variety of different things that go into it. I will say that we want to make our decisions based on what gives us the greatest likelihood to continue to grow the sport in any particular region.
So there's no situation where you think like Perth might be, and I don't think this either, but where Perth might be fatigued from UFC events or anything like that?
Put it this way, we'll never put ourselves in a situation where we're bringing a less than stellar product or when the ultimate product, the final product for fans doesn't make sense.
And of that 12,500 attendance, are you able to disclose how many were like complimentary tickets or anything like that?
Oh, we don't give away a lot of tickets. I mean, it'll be, it's like our standard. We've got tickets for our sponsors. We've got tickets for our broadcast partners. We've got tickets for, a few different groups that are connected with our company, but it's a small amount.
And there was indeed a price slash on tickets at some point. Is that strategic? Is that what you guys do? If it hits a certain point, you go, okay, now this is what we do? Because obviously the production and the fight night is always going to be top notch, but getting people here is tricky when you got the AFL Grand Final, all that sort of stuff. Was it a strategic decision by the company to slash those tickets?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say slash. What we do is we employ dynamic pricing in a variety of different scenarios, and in this case, it made sense for us to do so for mostly the upper level tickets to make sure that people got into the building.
And final one for me, when it comes to sort of you come here, obviously it's a business, you want to make money. Production wise was amazing. the performances were amazing. Financially, is this a win for the UFC this time around coming to Perth?
Yeah, I mean, I think I announced the largest gate in UFC Fight Night Australia history. So yes, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one down here.
Yes, sir.
Quick one. Talking about that, so much was made about ticket sales, pricing, but as you mentioned there, it's the largest gate for a fight night in Australian history. The UFC continued to kind of do stuff like that, break records, set records. But so much was made of that and the timing about the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
What learning experience has this been for the UFC coming to Australia this time of year? What have you taken away from this?
Yeah, it's a good question. Listen, I think ultimately what we want to do is we want to put our best foot forward on the product that makes sense for fans. We want to deliver the best combat sports product there is. Scheduling, as we've talked about in the past, can be a challenging situation. Sometimes dates work out for you, sometimes they don't. I think in this particular case, we identified this weekend, despite some of the other sporting events that were going on in the country, as a weekend that we wanted to come because it made sense for the matchmakers with the type of athletes that they thought they would want to put on this card. We talked about it a bit earlier this week. I might have mentioned at the press conference, I can't really remember, but the way that we've got our products set out with, numbered events at the top, we've got fight nights, but we've also got a number of other products, right? You've got Tough, you've got Contender Series, you've got Road to the UFC. Everywhere you look now, there are Aussies in all of our different levels of our live event products. Our team that runs the Road to UFC format, which, we're leading to the finale of that later this year or early next. The Aussies and Kiwis participated in that for the first time and were very successful, right? So part of the calculus, part of the decision that goes into, when are we going to have events, what type of events, and where are we going to go, is thinking again on the long term. So what I'm getting at here is, a fight night in Perth was actually the perfect type of event because it allows a number of athletes to be able to participate and flourish and sets them up for future opportunities, whether that's in, a big pay-per-view in Vegas or a numbered event somewhere else in the world or another fight night in Australia. So, if we were talking about some of the considerations that we put into what makes an event successful or not, I mean, we're all walking away this afternoon thinking that this couldn't have been better for us.
Is there a potential to bring maybe one of those other events that you mentioned, the Road to UFCs, those types of things? Is there potential to bring those things here?
Yeah, there is. One of the products that I didn't talk about was Looking for a Fight, which Dana is extremely proud of. Potentially a Looking for a Fight. I don't know. I mean, we're looking to expand and grow on RTU because it's been so successful. So taking that to different places around the world, maybe it's here. What we've got to do and work with the matchmakers on is what makes sense for the level of talent in a particular region that we're going to want to deliver and actually operate this type of tournament format for. So the short answer is yes, 100%. The other thing is, continuing to strengthen the relationship that we've got with other MMA promotions in the region, including here with Eternal, that can help continue to develop talent that gets, individual athletes from another promotion to step into the UFC and be successful right away, right? That's like a really important consideration for Sean and Mick and Hunter and Dana.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the event.
Hey, Dave. There's been a lot of talk about multiple Australian fights in Australia next year.
Mm-hmm.
City Kickboxing went 4-0 tonight, 3 first-round finishes.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I ask you every time. It seems like no better time with the amount of fighters coming out of New Zealand to make a return to Auckland for a UFC.
I can't argue with you. No, you're absolutely correct. It certainly does. And I know that Hunter and Sean were speaking to Alberg after the event, and like all good Kiwis, I'm sure he's advocating for a return to New Zealand as well. We would love to go there. The events that we've had in Auckland have been incredible.
You touched on a financial contribution from the local government. Am I going to have to go home and start talking to the council to try to get the UFC to come over to Auckland?
Yes. No, I'm just messing around. No, I mean, listen, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think there's been news in the last few weeks about some investment into a major funds sort of grant pool at, I'm not sure which level of government, but I think the federal government to attract major events, just like there are mechanisms in a variety of other places, including Australia. So whether it's concerts or, film festivals or food festivals or sporting events, we'll get a little smarter on that and make some decisions for 26.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey Dave, just a quick one. I want to revisit something that Dennis, you answered it pretty well before about the Jake Matthews and Neil Magny fight. And it was waved off, but have you ever seen a fight continue after it has been waved off, then the fight's over?
I'm not sure I have. I'm sure there's a reference. I'm sure there's an example of that, but I think at this particular moment, I can't remember a circumstance.
Yeah, there's been a few examples in the UFC
Okay.
where they've made a mistake. Oh, sorry, but the fight's over and stuff like that. And you mentioned before that it's up to Jake and his team whether they put in a protest. And you mentioned.
Well, I didn't say it's up to them. I said I believe it's a possibility for them to do that if they wish to proceed that way.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the adjudication of this is something that's got to be handled by the Combat Sports Commission of WA.
And yeah, mentioned a possibility of no contest, but also possibility of a win because the fight was over and Jake had actually won at that point. So, bit of history here in Perth again.
Yeah. I'm not as familiar maybe as I should be, but I think in this particular case, it's in the hands of Jake and Anthony Grover and the team.
Have you spoken to both Camps and Magny and Matthews about
I have
that?
not. No.
No worries. Thank
No
you.
worries.
And well done on the event again.
Thank you very much.
Dave, I was just going to
Hey, Nick.
ask, hey mate, given that was a really important fight for Jake Matthews tonight in terms of his career and where it's at. Do you think the referee, he stopped it when he had a choke in? So do you think he's, in a way, prevented potentially Jake Matthews from winning it there in that first round?
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's not up to me to speculate. I guess in theory, right, he motioned to stop the fight. The fight didn't stop. The fight kept going. And then the two outcomes are either Jake's going to win or he's going to lose. But, I think in these types of situations, human error sometimes plays a role in this stuff, and it happens in all different types of sports. But again, it's not really up to us as the promoter to be opining on sort of what's right and what's wrong.
Given that he did momentarily win the fight, is there any chance of him getting his win bonus or no?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, yes, there is a chance, but I don't know whether or not that's something that that Hunter and Sean, who are here tonight, Dana and Mick or not, would have to decide.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, no worries. All right, guys, I think that's it. Appreciate the support all week, and we'll see you guys next year. Thanks a lot.